Hello, hello, hello. How you guys doing? My name is Mo Malele and welcome to Mo Bites, which is the video version of the blog post I'll be putting up. So essentially, all of the blog posts that I'll be putting up on my blog will be linked to a video, and that video will be a 5 to 10 minutes kind of video where I'll be breaking down the blog post, giving more context and background, elaborating on some of the different topics and key highlights, and whatever else comes to my mind whilst I'm doing this. All of these sessions are completely unrehearsed, and essentially I literally just give you bite-sized pieces of my brain, hence the term Mo Bites. So please check it out on my blog, which is momalele.wordpress.com. I repeat, it's momalele.wordpress.com. A lot of my poetry is also on there. If you haven't checked out the blog yet, a lot of my poetry is also on there. So it'd be cool for you guys to get a better understanding and a taste of what my poetry is like, in addition to the post I'll be putting up. So I'm gonna try and keep these videos short and sweet. I really don't want them to be a verbatim rehash of the actual post itself, and I want them to kind of live in parallel to the post, but not be an exact replica. Otherwise, just read the actual thing. I want them to live in parallel and just be a place and a space where I can give extra context, background, elaborate further, and maybe even answer any questions or comments that come across from the actual posts, right? So I'm gonna try and be very disciplined and stick to about a 5 to 10 minute slot for these videos. Let's see how this one goes. All right, let's start this. So without further ado, let's talk about the first blog post that I posted about a week ago, titled "The Truth About Self-Love." So self-love, excuse me, is a topic very close to my heart, particularly because of the journey that I've traveled throughout my life, obviously, but particularly within the last 2-3 years, where I've really had to take a step back and really focus on myself as a human being and really internalize everything that I was going through in life and the way that I was interacting with life, but also how life was interacting with me, and really just trying to build myself and become a better version of myself, but also to fall in love with myself, and through everything that was happening at the time and that's been happening and continues to happen, this will continue to be a very close topic to my heart, because I've learned from experience that self-love is the most important element of your character, your personality, your love, the relationships that you form, and the way that you live life as a human being on this earth, and the way you spend the time that you have on this earth. It's one of the most, I'd say it's the most important element of yourself as a being, because it feeds into every other element of your life. And so that's why I wanted to start off this blog with the truth about self-love, because I feel I really had to almost rebuild myself to a certain extent, and at the core of rebuilding myself and my life and finding a deeper meaning to my presence on this earth, at the core of that was having a heightened sense of self-acceptance and self-love. And so I wanted to really talk about the 4 pillars of self-love. Number 1, self-awareness. Number 2, self-reflection. Number 3, self-knowledge. And number 4, self-acceptance, which will then lead you into the self-love paradigm. And I say this in the blog specifically that these are not steps, they are pillars. Because I personally don't believe that there is a set formula that if you follow, or a set amount of steps that if you follow to the letter in a particular kind of way, you'll one day wake up and you'll have all of the self-love in the world, and you'll just be smitten over yourself. I don't believe that's possible. I think we are constantly going through a journey in our lives, and it's a back and forth. And as you go through the pillars, and as you ask yourself the hard questions and give yourself honest answers, and then deal with those answers, you're constantly moving back and forth the different pillars. So you might find that you go from self-awareness to self-knowledge to self-reflection to self-acceptance and then self-love, on a particular category of your life or a particular topic. In some way, shape or form, you will find yourself going through all the 4 pillars, but not necessarily in the order that I have written about them or that I speak about them. I've just found personally that this order has worked really well for me, and that's why I wanted to share this with you guys. So let's talk about self-awareness. I think, self-awareness, it's such an important aspect of life. There are so many people who go through life not being aware of the life that they're living, and you can see that in the results that they get, either through their personal or professional lives, or through their health, or just through the way they impact people, or the lack of, if you want to put it that way. But self-awareness, basically, in this paradigm of self-love, in terms of the 4 pillars of getting to self-love, self-awareness is essentially living a conscious and woke life. But actually, strike that. Let me go further than that and actually switch that around. Self-awareness is about being conscious of the life that you're living. Right? And I'll say that again. Self-awareness is about being conscious of the life that you're living. Understanding that as a human being, you are constantly and forever interacting with life, and life is constantly and forever interacting with you. And that in whatever shape or form it takes in your life, there's constantly this back and forth. And that you're impacting life, and life is impacting you. You're impacting the people around you, and they are impacting you. And that everything you do in life, you are constantly at the center of it for your life. It's about self-awareness is about understanding that in your life you are playing the lead role. In my life as Mo Malele, I am the Viola Davis or the Meryl Streep of my life. In your life, you are the Denzel Washington, the Will Smith. You know what I mean? Like you are the Octavia Spencer, the Sandra Bullock, or whoever you want to mention of your life. You're playing the lead role in your life. And in parallel to that, you're playing pivotal roles in other people's lives as well. And that you're playing a big role in this ecosystem of life. And that you have to understand that. And you have to, have a very deep and profound understanding of that relational transaction in life, and that's really what self-awareness is about for me. At least that's how I would define it. It's understanding that life is happening for you and not just to you, and that there are different levers you can pull to move yourself forward or to move yourself backward. But at the end of the day, like it or not, for better or for worse, you are playing the lead role in your life, and you need to be conscious about how you're living this life. Then pillar number 2, self-reflection. Now, self-reflection is about taking what you've gained from the self-awareness paradigm. So I would say self-awareness, gives you a lot of raw data. A lot of raw data if you do it. If you do it deeply, it will give you a lot of raw data. Self-reflection is a space and a place where you are now able to sift through that raw data and make sense of it all. And you cannot do it with the noise of the world and everyone telling you who you should be, what you should do, where you should go, how you should act. You can't do that with a lot of noise. The only way self-reflection can pivot you to self-knowledge, which I'll talk about in a bit, is in in isolation, really, to a certain extent, you know. And not isolation from the point of view of, you know, locking yourself in a room and shunning the world and being judgmental and, you know, wanting to be a loner and so on and so forth. But from the perspective and the context of, you need some quiet time with yourself. And the only way you can turn the raw data you get from self-awareness into something that can move you forward is in the silence and the quiet time with yourself, where you really get to sift through all of this stuff and get a better understanding of yourself. And that's what self-reflection will give you. It's about understanding the why, you know, like why things happen the way they happen in your life, and how do you replicate the good outcomes, and how do you, you know, deviate from the undesired outcomes. That's the power of self-reflection. From there, you get to pillar number 3, self-knowledge. Now, self-knowledge is the result of self-awareness, which is over here, and self-reflection over here. You put those two together, you get to self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is, you know, the paradigm where you're now an open book to yourself. You know what I mean? Like you now you know who and what you are. But better or for worse, positive or negative, you now know who you are. It's at a point where you look in the mirror and you're like, this is it. This is what I am. Whether you like it or not is a secondary matter that we'll deal with in the self-acceptance paradigm. But in the self-knowledge paradigm, you look yourself in the mirror and you now know exactly what you're dealing with. And it's the result of putting those two together, self-awareness and self-knowledge, will get you, self-awareness and self-reflection will get you to self-knowledge. And it's a very powerful place to be, because now you know your behaviors, you know your triggers, you know your patterns, you know all of the habits that you have. You now have an understanding of yourself. You now know yourself. Then from there, you get to self-acceptance. Now, here's the thing about self-acceptance. It's probably the most important part of the 4 pillars, because you can't get to self-love without self-acceptance. You simply cannot love something you don't accept. I ain't even trying to be profound or poetic about it. It's that simple. I would honestly say that self-acceptance is the most important pillar of the 4 pillars to self-love. Because at this point, for better or for worse, positive or negative, like it or don't like it, you then accept what you are. And you're like, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. These are the things that I like, that I don't like. These are the habits that I'm allowed to form, good or bad. These are the behaviors that I have. These are my, this is who I am. This is why. This is how. And this is it. I accept myself. And only once you have accepted yourself can you then answer the questions of what is it about you that you like and you want to amplify, but what is it about you that you're not so proud of and you would want to lessen, you'd want to nullify, right? And we all have those things about ourselves that we're very proud to display and to show and to share, and we want to amplify those behaviors. And then there are things that you're not so proud of, and you're like, you know what, I could be a better person in this particular area of my life, and so you want to work towards being a better person. But you can only have those discussions with yourself, with yourself, and start building a plan and a strategy to become a better person once you've accepted who you are. You know, and that's the power of the self-acceptance paradigm, that once you've accepted who you are, then you can love it. Because now you get into self-love, and self-love is really just about being truly, madly, deeply in love with yourself on like a core level, like to your soul, man, like to your spirit, like to the heart of the human being that you are. You see yourself as a beautiful person who is talented, who is gifted, who has the power to change lives and to impact the world in a positive way, who as a being can spread energies and things of love to others and show others, that they too are worth love, that they too are worth the beauty, that they are talented, that they are gifted. And when you get to self-love, the most powerful thing about self-love and being in the self-love paradigm is that you now have a sense of peace, and that peace comes from understanding and realizing that you now have joy, a genuine joy that is in a place and a space where no one can steal it. And keep in mind that I talk about joy and not happiness, because you're not always going to be happy. You're not always going to be, it's not always going to be daisies and daffodils and dandelions, right? And roses and beautiful smells and so forth. So you're not always going to be happy with whatever's going on in your life. But for as long as you're in the self-love paradigm, you will always have joy. And you will realize that no one has the power to steal your joy for as long as you're living within the self-love paradigm. And the reason for that, it's because within the self-love paradigm, you begin to own more and more of yourself and of the elements and the components of your life, of your character, of your personality, of your joy. And you stop outsourcing that to friends, to family, to your boss, to your job, to the business, to the economy, to politicians, and so on and so forth. Your lover, boyfriend, girlfriend, your spouse, your children. You stop outsourcing that to people. And you realize how harmful it is to outsource elements of your joy to factors external of you. It is so harmful. And when you now have self-love, you start owning those elements, and you source your confidence, your validation, your value, your worth, your joy from deep within yourself. And once you've got that, you then realize just how surplus and how much of an add-on everyone else's opinion of you and everyone else's input to you is. Whether it's good or bad, positive or negative, you realize just how much of an add-on it is. And that you can use it, if you want to make you better and to take you to the next level, and use all of the feedback you're getting to grow and to become a better human being. But that they can't take your joy. They can't steal your love of yourself. And that's really the power of self-love. And that's why, I really wanted to write this post and make this video, and I really want to continue sharing the power of self-love with people, because I feel like there's so many people who are not an open book to themselves. So I don't know themselves. So many people who haven't, found the joy that comes with genuine self-acceptance, genuine self-love, truly, madly, deeply being in love and completely smitten, like, with yourself. Just like googly-eyed with everything about yourself, And that doesn't mean you stop growing and you stop wanting to become a better person or become a better version of yourself. If anything, you want to grow, you want to develop, you want to become better, you want to impact people, in a positive, and constructive way through love. But you've got the self-love, like, you got love, like, you got it, you know what I mean? And you're just like, I want everyone else to have it. And that's sometimes how I feel. It's like, I just want people to, like, fall in love with themselves, because then you'll be chilled, man. Like, you realize just like, and all the and you know like stuff at work and like things within the family and like the economy and like money and this, like all the things are issues and you got to deal with them, yes, but once you've got self-love, you realize that your joy is your joy. It belongs to you and nobody else has the power to steal it away from you. And that's a beautiful and liberating space to live in. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that y'all will check out the post. Please feel free to like, to share, to comment. And yeah, look out for more videos. I'll be doing another video very soon as I release my blog post as well. So check that out, look out for that one. Thank you very much for watching and I'll check you on the flip side. Deuces! This was Mo Bites. And I'm Mo Malele on the blog. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, this is Mo Bites. Deuces.